So apologies, this sound may suck because my 9-year-old boxer is snoring in the background, but I'm still going to deliver quality Forgotten Realms Dungeons & Dragons story to you. So I've been running a game almost 2 decades now. I'd say I've been partying since about 1999. By partying, I mean sitting around a table with a bunch of dudes playing D&D. So I thought to myself recently, during this long year it's been, I should get all this down, because if I croak tomorrow, I want everybody to know what I've been doing with my life. So I rolled out a timeline recently of the 7 games that I've played since around 2003 and the continuity that they formed within the Forgotten Realms. Now, these PCs have made a giant impact, of course, in my own world and in theirs, because players have begun playing these characters back in the day, and players are playing new, the same players are playing new characters and continuing campaigns. So if you have a human character back in the day, they're probably dead. But if you played an elven or dwarven character, they have run into them and their descendants in this timeline. I want to dispel the timeline out because it's what I really want to get out there to the world of Dungeons & Dragons players, and specifically Forgotten Realms fans and those who have run campaigns through it. So without further ado, here would be Chapter 1 of our game continuity in the Forgotten Realms. First, we need to understand the Dale Reckoning. That's the timeline, right? So, it is abbreviated NDR. In one DR, the elves said, okay, humans, you can move closer to us and live around us, but not really with us. Everything before that is referred to in a negative number, like BC or BCE. This game was played in the 3rd edition rule set, at least this first game in the continuity. It quickly upgraded to 3.5, and of course we were nerding out hard at the time and let's buy a bunch of new books. Okay, great. We don't have any money. Well, we won't eat for a week. What the hell? So the continuity again begins in 1372 DR, which they refer to as the Year of Wild Magic. 2003, our time. That's the beginning. So, in this year, Bane returns. He rips out of his son's body, Ioctu Vim, I want to say. Odd spelling, really weird, no longer relevant. Shout out to Todd Lockwood. A ton of his art is in here because he is the illustrator in the 3rd edition Forgotten Realms campaign setting. And it only makes sense. This is where that all came from. So, bad news for the realms, Bane's back. Good news for the realms, Lolth has gone silent. Now, she doesn't grant her cleric spells or anything like that anymore. Now, this is an odd time for it because, of course, R.A. Salvatore's Dristo Erden saga was huge, right? It's rolling through the 90s and into the 2000s. It just keeps being written and written and written and written, and I took the bait. For sure, at the time, loved it. Ate it right up. So it only makes sense that my PCs, starting with Bubbles of Tempest, roll into the next plotline, which we'll see in a moment. Bubbles was a follower of Tempest, god of war, and a half-orc barbarian. Very basic character build still. Daly poured a bunch of personality into it, and we'll talk with the players at the end of this series, and you'll know who Daly is and why he's relevant. The second NPC, played by Ando, was the fighting monk Solon Miata. He had left Thay for reasons he did not disclose, which is far to the east in the realms. The third player character was Zalish, a Virnelblin or Deep Gnome from their hometown of Blingdenstone, which is close to the Drow city he escaped from the terrible dark elf slavers coming to his home to take him and his family and friends away. It's terrible. Those dark elves were from the dark elf capital Menzoberranzan. Menzoberranzan is especially well known, of course, because of Salvatore's novels, and it was a great hook for me at the time. I thought, well, this is huge, everyone knows what it is, so Loltha's gone silent, what can we do? So we made up a prophecy locally where the PCs were located in their aimless... Well, they came together, they had nowhere else to go, it's a first level game, you understand. So there they are, and these dark elves start pouring out of the wells and around the forest, and they snatch this kid, little elven girl, and they take her back down. So then it comes out that her parents were her adopted parents, and that this child, if sacrificed in Menzoberranzan on the correct day, will not only bring Lolth back, but will bring her back more powerful than ever, where she'll do terrible spider stuff and destroy the realms and eat everyone. So while they were in the lower levels, 1st to around 7th, the PCs run afoul of the Church of Bane. It's a pretty typical thing in a Forgotten Realms game. The church at the time is really closely affiliated with the Zentarum, and it's run by, the Church of Bane is run by, Fazul Chimbrel, who's their archpriest. He has a mace called the Scepter of the Tyrant's Eye. It used to do like 3d6 strength to you each time he hits you with it. If your strength drops to 0, mace sucks out your soul. It's a bad way to go. They also ran afoul of the Zentarum, again closely married into, I would say, to the Church of Bane. And at the time, the Zentarum is largely controlled by Manchun, or a clone of him. Fazul and Manchun have a difficult relationship, and one could kill the other at any time. You know, super badass mastermind megalomaniac bad guys. It's just the way it is. Nonetheless, PCs upset them both. Why not? Moving in the year, the game is largely based in Cormyr, and though the PCs have really irritated some evil key players, they do make some friends, including Mirmeen Lal, Lady Lord of Arabel, and Artist Cimber, who they met in Suzail. Big shout out to Artist. Find out in 5th edition he's got the Ring of Winter and he's lived past all these other humans, so good work, man. Props. We also should note at the time, in this time, that Samemon and his consort Ashemi are lords of the Darkhold, which is a fortress possessed by the Zentarum. Now, Samemon is a former apprentice of Manchun, and Samemon wants out of the game. He doesn't want to be a Zentarum general anymore, so he reaches out to get some help, and Kelvin Blackstaff Arunson of Waterdeep reaches out with his organization, the Moonstars, and says, well, Samemon, we'll liberate you and make a extraction where Manchun's just not going to close in and kill you and clone you for his own terrible ends, and you can operate under me for a while. And that's about where the continuity ends for Chapter 1. To see Bubbles and Solon and Zelish continue, be sure to tune in to Chapter 2. Until next time. Thanks for watching. If you like my video, like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like my video, sucks to suck. And I mean you, not me.